Hey guys, it's your boy Football Talk Reactions, and today we got a special video for you guys because college basketball games are officially back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, baby, baby. Oh man, when I saw this, I was in shock. Okay. The last one, I think it was 2K8. Not 2K8, it was NCAA, how was it called? I think the last one the last one I played was NCAA 8. And it was one of those games that I would just play. I wouldn't put too many hours in, but I would just play it. And I loved the little halftime show that it had. It wasn't much of the halftime show, but I did like them coming out of the locker room and stuff. It was just so cool to see, man. And ladies and gentlemen, we finally have it back. Oh my goodness. This is a video by Eric Rayweather, by the way. We always reacting to him for the college football and the Maddens, so we gotta react to him for the basketball. Without further ado though, let's jump right into this. Let's see what Eric's got to tell us.
He just got some of the best news in sports video game history.
My headphones going out?
Basketball games are officially returning. This news came out of nowhere. No one was truly expecting it, at least not right now. I mean, we're in the middle of college football 26 season. We've got tons of news dropping. We've got gameplay videos that I got to get out later today. I've been grinding other videos for you guys that's coming out later this week. And then in the middle of all that, EA says, hey, guess what? College basketball games are coming back. What is going on?
So EA
now, I know that I
made it
mainly
official?
just cover football games on this channel, but for a game this big and for how passionate I know a lot of my watchers are for college sports, we're gonna have to cover this game going forward. So if you're not a basketball fan, maybe just ignore these videos, but we're gonna have to follow the development of the first college basketball game in over 15 years. The reason all these college games initially went away was because EA got sued over their college basketball game back in 2009. So to see this now finally come full circle and this is now going to be coming back in a few years, it's an amazing story.
I'm gonna have to change my headphones. One moment.
Bring the madness. Let's run it back. College basketball, it's in the game. And everybody's freaking out because while the college football game did really, really good last year, in fact, it was the best-selling sports game of all time, no one was truly sure if they were going to dive into a basketball game just because college basketball is not nearly as popular as college football. But seeing how good the football game did, it's almost a guarantee that the basketball game will do pretty good as well. Maybe not as good, but it's still going to do good. And so it was rumored a few months ago that both EA and 2K internally were talking about potentially bringing a college basketball game back, but that's really all we had heard. There was nothing too concrete on the situation yet until this morning. Now, I'm really looking forward to this because this is kind of the first time we're going to get true competition between major sports games in many, many years. As you know, when it comes to football, it's just EA. They've got Madden and now college football. There's no other company that makes either. With baseball, it's just MLB The Show. And with basketball, for many years, it's just been NBA 2K. This is really going to be the first time that any of the major American sports have two different companies making a game. We'll have 2K making NBA and we'll have EA making college, which is going to be interesting because we just haven't had that in the sports gaming landscape in quite some time. And both sides are clamoring for it. We would all like multiple companies to make games of the same sport because at the end of the day, that typically is going to give us a better product. So not only is this going to be good for just basketball fans in general, for college fans, but it could be really good for just 2K fans in general because having another basketball game on the market that's going to be getting popularity,
it's people that wasn't even born
more things in their games, so I think that's great.
And
another thing that's interesting is that this is going to be the first college basketball game that's going to have a lot of things for the first time, because if you remember back in the day, the last time we had college basketball games or just basketball games in general around that time, they still hadn't fully hit their stride like they did throughout the 2010s. Like NCAA basketball 2010 didn't have an online dynasty. College basketball games never had an online dynasty. I don't even think you could create teams in that game. I'm also pretty sure there wasn't a career mode because career modes in basketball games came a bit later earlier than the football games because NBA 2K10 was the first time that they started of my career, which was the same year of NCAA basketball 2010, and they didn't have that in the game. So
I had
when this
that
college
too.
basketball game comes back,
My
it'll be the
uncle
first one to have
always,
online
with
dynasties,
T-Mac and them.
a real career mode, like a Road to Glory basketball version and things like that, which will be really, really fun. And another tidbit I did want to throw in there, because we had heard that EA was working on this months ago, that they want to bring more open world stuff to their sports games, and they specifically mentioned their soccer game. They mentioned American football. I would think that they're going to also implement this into any college basketball game they're playing, just because that's kind of become a staple in NBA 2K. So if you're bringing back in a way a competing basketball game, even though it's college, I think you're going to probably add that as well, because by 2028 we should have this in games like Madden and college football. They're going to, be putting it there for the career mode type stuff. I do think this could be cool for college and college football, because you could have a campus, and the same would be true for a college basketball game. So I do think that's something we can probably also expect to be a part of this, because we already know it's something that they're heavily invested in and working on. Now we're going to continue on with some other important info that we got about this game today, but really quickly I want to shout out today's video sponsor, Underdog. If you like sports when you sign up, and they'll give
Underdog. Here's the code right here for y'all guys who want it.
You a free play. Again, sign up using code RAY for that deposit credit and a free play. So now that we have a college basketball game coming back, we got to talk about Matt Brown. If you were around here for the college football 25 news cycle, then you know who Matt Brown is. He was getting a ton of info over the years leading up to the release of that game, and he brought us a lot of good info along the way that kind of held us over until the game dropped. Well, it looks like he's going to be back in a big way for college basketball, because he's already given us a little bit of info on it. He had said a while back that he heard that they were potentially looking into something, but I mean, again, a lot of people heard that. We didn't really know, how true that was. Well, this morning he did mention a few things about this game once the announcement broke. One of those things was that it will not be called NCAA basketball, which I think we kind of expect that. He said the working title is EA Sports College Basketball, which I would pretty much already say, yes, that's going to be the title. They're going to just do the same thing they did with football. Why rock the boat? Keep the branding similar. And it says the NCAA will participate as a licensing partner, but will not be in the title of the game. So that'll be pretty interesting there. NCAA will still have involvement with the game. Another thing that he broke was that the game is going to include women's basketball programs, so this will be a standalone title with both men and...
Let's fucking go, baby. Okay. Hey, man. Oh, bruh. LSU, come on, Flage. I got you. You winning another title, okay? You're winning another... Well, I don't know, because this might come out a couple... I mean, she might be... she gonna be at college by then. Damn. It don't matter though. Still
women's
LSU
college
over
basketball
here, baby.
teams and players, which does make sense, because if you remember, the last time NBA Live was around was Live 18 and 19. They were the first game to include WNBA teams inside their men's basketball game, and then since then 2K
I played
has followed
19
suit,
too.
and they
That's
include
crazy.
the WNBA inside of NBA 2K as well. So this kind of makes sense. EA was the first to do something like that, so why wouldn't they do it with college basketball? And honestly, nowadays, women's college basketball is really popular. I'm not going to necessarily say it's more popular than the men's. I think, when they had Caitlin Clark, you maybe could have made that argument, because they were getting a lot of viewers. But women's college basketball...
A little bit of a pushback. It's not as popular as when the obviously Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese, but I will argue that it has been some of the best basketball last year. Now the Florida run was crazy, but the South Carolina run, UConn winning, destroying them. Then you had Juju, who went down with the injury, obviously. Then you got Flage with LSU. It was a lot of storyline. It was way more storylines, I feel like, than it was in the men's. And if you was watching, you was in it. You know what I mean?
Has grown in popularity quite a bit, so it makes sense to include them in the game. And when you also factor in that, unlike college football, basketball teams have much smaller rosters, so it doesn't really make sense for them not to include the women, because the number of players total, is still something they can work with. Now, it's also been said that this game is not expected to be out until 2028, which again makes sense. That's about the working time that they had to get college football out. It took them about 3.5 years. And remember, they had a jumping off point with the Madden game. I don't really think they have a jumping off point with this unless they can still kind of piggyback maybe a little bit off of what they did with NBA Live 19, but that's so many years ago. I feel like you would maybe want to start completely fresh.
They probably
maybe
will have
to
to start
all the way
from
down
scratch.
to ground zero, but it's definitely going to be less of a jumping off point than they had with Madden, for example. So maybe they've already been working on it for just a little bit. Maybe they started a few months
I think
ago,
they
but
probably have more.
2028 is when we can expect this.
So when like they have timelines of like maybe 3 years or something like that, like when you hear that from gaming companies, a lot of times they've already been working on it here and there, but obviously it's not something that they can push out of the door. But they probably, more than likely, EA's probably been working on this. Not only just the game, but also getting a license and stuff. Because that takes time too. That adds to the time. So it could take you 3 years to make a game. But if you have anything that's dealing with license, which EA is sports related, they have to get the licensing and stuff, and that could take up to a year or two, to get everything right. We want this in the game. Do we have your permission to put this, put that, because companies, they want their cut and they want to be seen in a good light. You know what I mean? So it takes time for everything.
We know from dealing with college football the first time around, these things take time. They can't just pop this game out in a year or two, especially if you want it done right. And we saw that, that wound up paying off for College Football 25. We got a pretty good game, but even with all the time they had to work on it, there were still a number of things that weren't there that we still wanted. There were still a number of things that didn't work perfectly. So, it's just when you're trying to make a sports game and add a lot of depth and add all that atmosphere and stuff from college, all the little things, it does take a lot of time because there's so many different programs. So we know that it's going to take time, but we're excited now to have this back. As soon as we get any more news on this, I'm going to make videos on it, but we got to get back into the college football.
Ooh, yeah, baby. Oh my goodness. I'm super excited. I also did see that EA put out their first look of gameplay. I may react to that. I might just watch it on my own time. Who knows? If I do react to it, will be later on tonight. So yeah. Man, oh man, but I'm super excited. Let me know in the comments below. Did you play the last NCAA basketball? Let me know in the comments below. Love you guys and see you guys in the next one.